In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 tips for optimizing Logic Pro so you get the best settings and you stop running into that pesky system overload error. Tip number 1 is to quit any other apps that are running on your computer. I know this might seem obvious, but it's something that is easy to forget. So just go down to your dock, make sure you close apps that you don't need, and that will optimize your computer, give you more space and processing power for Logic. Tip number 2 is to save your projects to a dedicated storage drive. So don't actually save your Logic Pro projects on your hard drive, but save them to an external drive. That's what I do myself. I'll have a link to the drive that I'm using in the description below, and that's where I save all of my projects. I have some other things on here, but here's my external Orpheus drive. And if I go into Logic here, you can see all my different Logic projects all saved here on an external drive. And that will, again, allow you to free up the processing power of your computer. Tip number 3 is to pull up the performance meter in Logic so you can get a better idea of where the problem is. And so we can do that here by clicking on this arrow here, and we can go and choose the custom setting, and we can configure the custom control bar and display by clicking here, and just make sure you click performance meter here so that is shown in the custom display here. And then we can just double click on the meter here, and then we can get our performance meter here, and we can see what is going on, where the problem is, and what threads are being used. So for example, the processing threads here, this shows the amount of CPU and RAM processing power that Logic Pro is using on the available cores in your Mac. And each core in your Mac has its own meter, so you can see how each core is performing. On Intel-based Mac computers with processors that support hyperthreading, you'll have 2 meters shown for each core. And then you have the drive IO meter here, and this shows the amount of disk bandwidth used by Logic Pro. So this is just a better way of seeing what is actually going on, and you can see if something is peaking here. Now, the next settings you want to potentially change here, you go up to Logic Pro settings audio here, and you're going to want to set your buffer size to be as large as possible. So in this case, 1024. If you want to learn more about buffer size, what this is, and different buffer settings you want for recording versus mixing, I have a complete video on this that's really short. I'll have that linked in the description below. So there we have your buffer size. Now, tip number 5 is to set your process buffer range to large. If it isn't set there already, that's going to give you best results. Tip number 6 is to go to multi-threading here and choose just playback tracks instead of playback and live tracks, and that will save you some processing power as well. And then also in here in processing threads, you can choose automatic and see how that does, but if that's not working, then set it to the highest number of cores that you have in your computer and see if that does better for you. Hit like if this video has been helpful to you so far. And real quick, before I continue with the final few tips on how to optimize Logic Pro, be sure to grab my free mixing checklist in the description below. This walks you through a proven step-by-step system for finishing pro quality music from home faster. So if you find yourself creating a lot of songs but never finishing them, never releasing them, or you're just not quite happy with the quality of your music, then be sure to grab this free mixing checklist in the description or go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/mixing checklist. All right, tip number 7 is to use send effects. So for example, here I have the snare drum. Instead of just putting the reverb as an insert effect right here, I would want to use a send effect down here. So I can send my reverb over here. So here's my send, my auxiliary channel track where I can put the reverb, and then I can apply that same reverb setting to say 10, 20, 30, whatever tracks. So you can have one reverb plugin affecting many different tracks, and you can control the amount on each track, so it doesn't have to be the same amount of reverb on every track. And so same thing with delay. Even using any modulation style effects or even saturation, this can be great as well. So you're saving processing power by not using as many plugins and using send effects. So to set this up, you just click down here, do bus, choose whatever bus you want your effect to be on. For example, I could choose 33, and now here is the send here. I could name this reverb, and then I could put on some reverb here. So we could throw on some chroma verb, And we want this to be all the way wet because we're going to be controlling how much reverb from the send dial here. And with that set up, we can then dial in how much reverb we want on our track here. And then the same goes for any other track that we want to use. Tip number 8 is to bounce your MIDI to audio. Not only is this just a great idea because it allows you to commit to mixing decisions and move on with your track rather than continually changing things, because once you bounce to audio, those effects, those decisions are baked in now, and you have to go with what you have. But it's also going to help you save on processing power because now it's less plugins you need. It takes less to process audio than it takes to MIDI. So if you have something you like, say you've got your drums the way you like them, go ahead and bounce them to audio. And now you don't have to have all those different plugins on your drums. So for example, I have this bass here. If I'm happy with this, I can just go File, Bounce, Track in Place. And I could call this bass. And we can do new track. And now here is my bass track that has now been bounced in place with all the effects baked in. So I still have my MIDI here, so if I do want to go back, I still have it here. It's not been destroyed. I can turn off all these plugins so it's not being used. Or even better, tip number 9 is to freeze tracks you're kind of done with, you're not really using. So to do that, we can just right click in here and we can go to track header components and we can click freeze here. So we can add the freeze setting. And so then we click freeze here. What this is going to do, it's going to basically temporarily bounce the track to audio without destroying the MIDI or anything. And so I can hit play here and you can see it's going through and it's freezing the track. So it's not going to take up as much processing resources on the computer. So now that track is frozen. I just can't really change it. See, if I were to change the length, it would say you have to unfreeze it. So I could click unfreeze then at that point if I wanted to. Tip number 10 is to set the voices inside of a synth to the lowest number required. For example, here we are in Massive here in the voicing tab right here. And so you can see we're using polyphony here, right? If it was monophonic, it would just be one voice, but we got polyphony here. And we can set this to be multiple voices. And so that's great for creating, wide, more textured sounds. But, if you can get away with 3 voices, just use 3 voices instead of cranking it all the way up, because that across, many different tracks, many different synths is going to eat up more processing power. So just use the minimum number of voices required to get the job done. With that, if you want help finishing more tracks, be sure to check out my Finish Songs Faster course in the description below, or go to orpheusaudioacademy.com/fast. And this is a step-by-step training that will show you how to finish every song you start and get more music released. So check that out below. And if you want more Ninja Logic Pro tips, then be sure to check out my playlist on the screen right now. With that, have an awesome day, keep creating, and I'll see you in a future video.